Be Wealthy and Smart, episode 1023.
Step into a world of wealth and financial freedom without budgets, boredom, or bosses on Be Wealthy and Smart. And now, here's your host, Linda P. Jones.
Welcome to Be Wealthy and Smart. I'm Linda P. Jones, America's Wealth Mentor, empowering women and men worldwide to financial freedom. On today's show, we're going to talk about, is the financial reset really here? Well, it looks like there's a lot of indications it just might be. But first, I want to talk about what's been going on this year so far. We came into the year with interest rates skyrocketing because the Fed was jawboning about having to raise rates. During that time, we had massive inflation and prices are going through the roof. And we had one actual interest rate hike of 0.25%, 25 basis points. Now we have more jawboning again that, they're going to have to raise rates even faster. But once again, the Fed is going to have a difficult time raising rates much. But instead, what they do is they talk about it, which has the same effect in that in the expectation of raising interest rates, rates rise in anticipation of that. So it's the same effect without them actually having to raise rates. And what it's done is it's made mortgage rates for home purchases around a 5% interest rate right now, which is the highest it's been in a very long time, which is serving to slow down a little bit of the demand for real estate. However, we still have a shortage of supply, and that market is still going to continue to be strong. And a 5% interest rate is still historically low. Now, the stock market turned around and started to take off again. Now what we're seeing is a little bit of a pullback, taking some profits, and we're going to see a little bit more volatility here as some things are playing out on the world stage. We have things like Evergrande, the Chinese bonds that we know are having trouble being repaid. A lot of people call that a Lehman moment for last year, and I told you, no, it wasn't going to happen last year. But I think we could be at the point where it's close to finally coming to a conclusion. It's tying in with Tether, which owns some of the Evergrande bonds, apparently, which is tied in with Bitcoin. This could lead to more of a systemic problem with China and Evergrande and defaulting on bond payments. But this is something that has to happen. We have to have a reason for the old financial system to go down. We have to have a reason to reboot it with something new. And what we're seeing is everything kind of lining up right now for that. We're seeing this concern about Tether. Tether is not saying what bonds it holds. We think it has Evergrande bonds. We see this quote from the head of the Binance exchange talking about things sinking like the Titanic, but those will rebound that are untethered. A very interesting word to use. And today is the anniversary of the Titanic sinking. We also have very interesting words from the U.S. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen, who said it's time to think big, address gaps in the international financial system, modernize the IMF, and development banks. There's that we need a Bretton Woods moment again, where they're talking about resetting the financial system, and they're talking about the fact that the whole system needs an overhaul. Now, couple that with this comment from the IMF, which said, during the pandemic, debt accumulated much faster than in the early years of other recessions, including the Great Depression. And 60% of low-income countries are now in or at risk of distress. So they're telling us in no uncertain terms the smaller countries are having a very difficult time. They are not probably able to make some payments on their debt. I think we're going to have the debt forgiveness that has been talked about by David Malpass of the World Bank. Couple that with the talk about cyber attacks happening and to be predicted today to happen, which would provide a weekend of time for the new financial system to roll in. The stock market is closed today. It's Good Friday. And this would provide 3 days or so for the banks to convert to a new system and reopen perhaps in the next week with a new system backed by gold, silver, and other physical assets that reconstitute faith and confidence in the financial system. We bring in digital currencies such as XRP and XLM, which are the two that have been mentioned as stable coins and that the stable coins will be built on. XRP for the government and for institutions, XLM for the average citizen and their wallets for spending. And you can see that we are setting up for XRP and XLM to take their rightful place as utility assets that move money at lightning speed, at very little cost. This has been planned for years in the banking system. Many people have been asking me, do you think the Lightning Network with Bitcoin is going to surpass XRP? No, not in the least. XRP has 4 years plus on Bitcoin of planning and contracts with banks, financial institutions. This has been working in the background on the private ledger. The Bitcoin system is still slow, expensive. It's just a terrible thing to try and use as a payment system. It doesn't work, and neither does Ethereum. And now Ethereum has another delay on trying to increase their scalability. The payment systems are XRP and XLM. The other cryptocurrencies, such as Evergrande and XDC, are going to work in world trade and with stock markets. As you know, Evergrande has already been the technology used for the Israel stock market. We already have the blueprint. These are the ones I wrote about in my book. They are the ISO 20022 cryptos, which means that they can message each other and understand each other's computer messaging. It's standardized. And that's because they have been planned to be the ones going forward that are going to have true value and are going to have utility and are going to be the cryptocurrencies that are approved in the banking system, at the government level, at the institutional level. It's already been decided. The only people who don't know about it is the public, and that will be announced at the time when it happens. But I think we're right on the verge of that here, and this is exciting as we are going to see the changes that we've talked about for a very long time really come into the crosshairs here pretty soon. So while I think the stock market could have some bumps here as we're going through this changeover, I am seeing that our mining stocks are doing extremely well, with silver up 10% year to date versus the stock market still being down year to date. We also have our junior silver miners up 21.5% year to date. So for a little over 3 months of the year, that's a spectacular return. We have the junior gold miners up about the same, and we have the large gold miners up 27.32% in about 3.5 months this year. So things are on track. We're moving in the right direction for a new financial system for cryptocurrencies that we have been investing in to be the winners, to be in the new financial system. Everything looks like it's about to happen now. All we have to do is watch and wait for this to play out. As we've said, you want to own your cryptocurrencies, you want to own your physical assets, your gold and silver, your mining stocks, your shares of stock. The best thing to do is to have real assets that your money's invested in. So buckle up, hold through this. It's about to get interesting, but I think it's also about to get very, very exciting. That's all for today. Until next time, live the good life and be wealthy and smart.
Thank you for listening to Be Wealthy and Smart with Linda P. Jones. Share the wealth and tell your family and friends about the show. Check out our website, blog, and social media for more riches at www.bewealthyandsmart.com.